Welcome to UK House, the home of creativity. We're going to be heading to Bournemouth now, where we're going to hear from Crowd. Crowd is an independent global marketing agency that specialises in the creation and delivery of environmentally sustainable product and service promotions. I think it's fair to say, no matter where you were in the world, we all experienced the pandemic over the last couple of months. In the UK, a lockdown created a real creative challenge for many brands. We can see from the award winners this year at Cannes Lions how data and tech worked hand in hand with each other to help solve these problems. I'm now delighted to welcome Steve Howling, the Global Creative Director of Crowd, who will present how they solved this problem for DorsetMind. DorsetMind is a pioneering local charity that supports local people. This is a live session, so please do submit your questions via the Slido chat to the right of the main screen. Welcome, Steve.
Hi there. How you doing? Oh, I'm on TV.
You are on TV. You're in the front room of UK House right now.
Oh, great! Privileged to be here.
Yes, we won't say how many people that we're beaming out to at the moment. So, how is everything in Bournemouth? Is it nice and sunny there?
Yeah, it's going well actually. Yeah, very nice and sunny, and looking forward to a bit of kayaking maybe at the weekend and getting out and about. But yeah, it's it feels like the lockdown is starting to lift. I think everyone's in good spirits. Obviously, what happened last night as well. So everything's very good in Bournemouth.
Yes, we haven't mentioned the football yet, so there we go. I'm going to hand over to you now for your presentation.
Great, thank you very much. Well, thanks everyone for coming to listen to me, and really excited actually about taking you through this story. The topic that I chose to talk about was data and technology and ideas colliding, but it's a bit more than that. It's also about how all that also collided with lockdown and how it also affected our charity client Mind, DorsetMind. And the actual title is called Tools Not Messages, and it's about how we came up with a concept which was had purpose to it, but actually gave people something to use that's actually useful. So as we all know, advertising purposes everywhere. It's great to see brands take it on themselves to represent and talk about the bigger than their own product. Like, for instance, you see here, Skittles and Nike, some great examples. But I think what we wanted to do with our campaign was to actually not talk just literally about messages to people and creating campaigns with words and pictures that tried to get across how a brand felt, but also create something that gave them something. So if we took purpose further than just messaging and tried to align ourselves with like values and show that we get behind really, really valid values, what else can we do? So we combine data, technology and creativity to invent tools of purpose. And that's where we'd like to be. And that's what we did. So rather than just messaging, we're looking at actually giving people things and brands that actually part of their life. So with most campaigns, you have a strapline, you have a jingle, and it's relevant and it sticks in your mind. But if you create a tool, then that actually becomes part of their everyday life and part of a customer's everyday experience. So you become more of their life and obviously well remembered more. So this is what we did for our client DorsetMind. And as you may be well aware, like DorsetMind is part of a UK mental health charity called Minds, and they offer guidance and support to people of all ages suffering from poor mental health and struggling. And they do it lots of different ways. They go out to the community, they give talks, they also have information on the website. But a big part of what they did was actually to go out and talk to people and to befriend people and to give them comfort and support and, in real life. So that was before lockdown. And then obviously the UK went into lockdown, and that changed the dynamics completely for DorsetMind. And it went from being like a very out there in the community charity to suddenly, like all of us, being in lockdown. And lockdown was very severe for all of us, obviously, but for a charity like that really thrives on actually being with people. They found it particularly hard. And also, it's a time when I think we all sort of struggled, with the idea of being locked into our homes and not being able to see people that we normally would. It was, it's a very tough time. So as I said, this put pressure on everyone's mental health and meant that, DorsetMind could no longer reach out in person. So this gave the brand a very sort of particular problem. So we thought, how could we help our client offer actually the meaningful support, not just say we're here if you need us, but actually do something that actually reached out to people and in the same way that we would do physically. How could we create a campaign or a thought that would enable them to keep doing this amazing work that they'd always done? So, like all good ideas, it was sparked from a simple truth and, a Zoom call and a cup of coffee at the time. And after chatting, about how we felt about lockdown and the problems that DorsetMind had, we all basically said, look, the big thing here is that we all miss the great outdoors, sort of being confined to the house and not being able to do much more than like an hour of exercise was actually really, really difficult. And I think it sort of hit people harder than they expected. We always sort of take the outdoors for granted. We think that we go out for a bit of fresh air, but, it's actually a lot more than that. We really do actually need the outdoors. So spending time in nature, it gives us lots of different benefits. It boosts our mood, increases our self-esteem. It can lower our blood pressure, our heart rate, our stress hormones, and actually can almost also help us think better, which is, I think that's what helped people felt a lot of lockdown, actually, they're feeling muddled and, sort of their concentration wasn't what it was. But we wanted to find out more about this. This is our gut feeling that we missed nature, and it was very much a big reason why people were suffering from poor mental health. And obviously it was DorsetMind's problem that they couldn't get out. So we looked into some research and we found a piece that said like 20,000 people have been looked at, and just by 2 hours a week in green space, it really, really helped boost their good health and their mental well-being. And below that, it didn't have any effect at all. So it needed to be 2 hours plus a week to actually to get some benefit from the outdoors. But it was proven that it's not so much like a nice thing to have; it's a have to have. So we really do need green spaces, and this became quite a dilemma. How do we help people when they're in lockdown and can't have access to the outdoors like they would do? How can we help them? So we thought about the benefits of the outdoors. How can that be felt indoors? Is there a way of taking this feeling that we get and all these positive emotions from being outside? Could we somehow do something where people felt good inside as well? Then we found some research that suggested that actually even just seeing images of the outdoors inside actually does do a positive effect. So, like looking at an Instagram feed, even that, can actually help lift our moods and make us feel better. So it was just this insight that just really sort of spurred us on this idea that was starting to form. So bringing together data and research, we saw that there was actually might be a way of we can make people feel better without having to leave the home and still have that boost from being outdoors. So we created a digital platform called MyDorsetMind, and it was slightly different branding to the normal MyDorsetMind website, and it was all about bringing the outdoors in, so people could have a virtual experience of the outdoors and the amazing coastline from their own living room. So they could choose a different landscape, all from the same area, from around Dorset. And obviously, DorsetMind is very, very lucky to have such beautiful countryside around it. So it became a very unique campaign to Mind Dorset. I mean, we could have gone to Shutterstock and found video footage of all over the world, but we felt that Dorset had this really lovely countryside and was really lucky to have it. So by actually utilising that, it made DorsetMind feel like it was their unique campaign. So just a few pictures here of the amazing scenery that we got. And there's like the famous Jurassic Coast, all these places that were, unavailable to us at the time. We pulled it together and allowed people to see it. So what I want to do quickly is immerse you into the feeling that you would get from My Dorset Mind site. So I probably could have done with that after the first goal last night. So it goes to show you just how relaxing it was, just like looking at images of landscapes. And as well as a great relaxation tool, it also gave a gateway to My Dorset Mind's other services and advice that people probably wouldn't have gone to if it was just purely to go to the Dorset Mind website. This sort of mainstream idea allowed us a different way into the services they provided. And it also allowed us to use our other two clients, Visit Dorset and Jurassic Coast Trust, to bring in their imagery from their campaigns and allowed them to reach out to an audience that really wasn't going to be booking any tourism or travel for a long while, but allowed them to stay front of mind at a time when nobody was going anywhere, right in the middle of lockdown. And My Dorset Mind not only reached this like local audience of the Dorset where we were targeting, but also 121 other countries, which obviously enabled My Dorset Mind to push its awareness all over the world. And also our travel clients could showcase Dorset around the world as well in a really positive, purposeful way. So if we look at brands, rather than creating messages every time and say, let's create a campaign and then sort of create a billboard, a TV ad, let's sometimes look at what we could do, what's purposeful for people. Yes, use our creativity, technology to actually say, can we build something for the consumer, that will connect with them in a lot deeper way than maybe a normal campaign would, or alongside a normal campaign. So, before we think about messages, let's think about creating something useful and give brands something truly valuable to share. So, I nearly run out of time then. So I don't know if anyone has questions.
Oh, thank you, Steve. I just want to touch on the 121 countries because that's fascinating. And obviously, Crowd is a global agency, but that was not targeted. How did that success happen outside of Dorset to go global?
That was purely just it just happened. That was we put the word out on social and it was done through My Dorset Mind's own website. But that just literally just picked up its own pace and was shared in lots of different ways. I guess people have links with Dorset and then know people abroad, and it's shared that way. But it was, as there wasn't a lot of budget or hardly any budget at all for this campaign, that was all done, on its own power, really. So to actually, to put some money behind it, then you can see it sort of reaching even further. But it was just, I think it was just the idea that caught people's imagination. It tapped into mindfulness and the slow movement, which is a big thing at the moment. This idea of just being mindful and still for a while. There was some of this is inspired as well by the BBC4 programs where you got on a husky ride or you got on a bus around Yorkshire and you think, well, that's going to be very interesting TV, but actually when you watch it, you're actually really drawn into it and you become get into a different pace. So I think it also tapped into people wanting to escape a little bit and just to slow down.
And then just following on from one or two of your comments there, some of the other speakers, for example, Aardman Studios earlier, touched upon the importance of storytelling when it comes to any tech. And so just taking that, I guess my question to you is, how did you incorporate storytelling when, this is such a creative, you were faced with quite a creative challenge?
Yeah. It was, I think for storytelling, it was just the idea, a very simple idea of like being able to reach out into the landscape that you just, normally take for granted and just being part of it. And, people could easily get that concept, I think, and especially at a time when we couldn't do anything else. So I think people just wanted to reach out and be part of things that they normally would do, and just to have that little bit of escapism. So, it'd be great to be pushing the website forward and doing way more of it.
Yeah, so I thought you were going to give an exclusive there as to what's going to happen next around the tools campaign for My Mind Dorset.
Well, I think, not only that, but we're also talking about interactive videos, because I think what's, especially with organisations like DorsetMind, where you get a lot of people going to a website that may not be feeling their best and not be able to concentrate. Interactive videos where you're asked questions and you can just navigate visually through a story, we feel is a really strong route for websites as well. And rather than having to look through lots and lots of copy, lots of different links, something that's just asks you how you're feeling and can sort of like navigate you through to the service that you actually need. If we can use technology in that way and bypass some of the ways we normally look at things, I think people are still looking at websites as if they're pages of print, which they're really not. It's about landing onto a site that basically talks to you like you're an individual and allows you to navigate that in your own way. So I think the power of videos and the power of AI interactivity, that's where it goes. But I think for the platform itself, MyDorsetMind, there's so much more potential with travel firms and with DorsetMind anyway. But I think with travel firms, allowing people to have a mindful, positive experience with a destination before they actually look to book or to do anything more about it. I think that could be really important.
Yeah, I think immersive worlds, which will be touched upon throughout the day, really that was accelerated a lot over the last 12 months. And I know we covered a lot of it at South by as well. So, and we will be covering it tomorrow again when we're joined by the Royal Shakespeare Company at 12:30 from Dream. Steve, that is all we have time for. But thank you very much for coming to UK House today and joining us. You can connect with Steve via the Hop-in networking function in the People tab, and it will Steve's LinkedIn is also available in the chat. We're going to take another quick commercial break. Again, don't go far, as coming up we'll be hearing from Digital Detox.